started Okadook Canada, and Zach was my second open mic. So when he ran at the VFW hall, and I wrote all these jokes just for the VFW hall about I'm a veteran of the war of the sexes. Stupid jokes, stupid.
No, I get that. I totally understand. We're already going, by the way, just a heads up. So.
Okay, great.
And I can always edit anything you don't want in there, whatnot, all that kind of stuff.
We're good. If I have anything, my lawyer will call you.
Oh, great. That's what I love to hear, lawyers involved in everything. Michael, we were just chatting outside about Recycle Michael.
Yeah.
Talk about that for a second. This is the first time we've ever met. I've chatted with you on Facebook to get you onto the podcast and whatnot, and ask you questions about the Tulsa open mics. But you mentioned Recycle Michael, and I was like, "What is that?"
Okay, so I'm a really old guy. I'm a dinosaur, and when I was young, no one cared about the environmental movement in Oklahoma, and
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's still kind of
it still is hard.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to help it. I mean, I'm part of a group called Gang Green in our own minds. We're kind of, you recycle or die, sucker. But it's the first Earth Day. I'm 11 years old in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and my father worked for the city, and I got a letter from the mayor, Mayor James Eugley, asking me to do a litter cleanup in a park near my house. And I said, sure. And we were offered free Pepsi. And I convinced all my friends, a handful of friends, so come on, we're going to pick up litter and get free Pepsi and a T-shirt, and it'd be so much fun. And I was just a salesman already in life, and we did. And that park was near my home, and it was kind of my special place. It was all parks to 11-year-old boys. I mean, that's where I rode my bike and got Frisbees and tadpoles and everything. It was my Garden of Eden. And to other people, there was a trash can. There was trash all over, even near the trash cans. They couldn't even get close in some cases. They just left it on the tables. And I just got mad, and I got quoted in the paper. 1970, April 23rd, because April 22nd was the first Earth Day. I was quoted saying, "If you litter, you're not my friend." I was a big asshole kid. Like, even then, I was an asshole. But I meant it, and then it just kind of changed my life. I just kind of got involved. I became a salesman. So almost everything in Tulsa related to litter, trash, recycling, hazardous waste, ozone alerts.
You've always been involved in that.
Yeah.
Like sales-wise even? That kind
everything.
Of stuff,
I ran nonprofits.
Okay.
I ran, Up with Trees for many years in Tulsa. Things, the Garden Center.
I would say Tulsa is probably the cleanest city or town in Oklahoma.
Well,
Oklahoma City's catching up, though, but...
The best thing about this stupid story, there's a lot of things I did, and I wrote and produced ozone alert TV commercials for 20 years, and I built recycling businesses. In fact, the Stillwater Center here, all the trailers I designed.
Really?
Yeah, I won an award for this weird design I made on a cocktail napkin. And the idea of, we can unload trailers. We don't have to have heavy equipment haul milk jugs.
Right.
And so I'm just a crazy person who sells ideas. And and the litter one, so I'm president of Keep Oklahoma Beautiful. I gave a lifetime achievement for my work for them. I'm very honored. I thought I was going to die years ago, and I was really fat. And, give him quick before he dies. But I went to every county in 2 years in the state of Oklahoma, 77 counties. I found some weird garden club or Rotary Club or some group that would listen to my speech, and I would talk about how beautiful their county was. And I would say these stupid stories about and jokes about, and I'll tell you here's the 3 jokes I would use to explain to these people in Somewhere County, Oklahoma. I'd say the first joke is, I'm driving my car down a country road in your county, and it's just a dirt road, and I started to have car trouble. I don't know anything about cars. I pull over, I raise the hood, I'm staring at the engine for no reason. I have no tools. I have a toolbox full of sticks I just poke stiff with. And then I hear this voice say, "I think it's your carburetor." And I'm stunned. I'm like, what? What? Who said that? There's no one around. I said, who said that? And this cow says, I said it. I think it's your carburetor. And I was shocked. I ran up to the farmhouse. I said, oh my God. I explained the story. The farmer says, was it a brown cow with white spots? I said, yeah. Oh, don't listen to Bossy. She don't know nothing about cars. Stupid joke. But the joke led to a speech about, don't listen to people who say you're not beautiful.
Right.
Don't think you're a flyover state. Don't think, oh my God, how could you live there? There's nothing beautiful in your state. There's plenty beautiful in your county, plenty beautiful in everything about your community, and you can make it more. And as long as you keep it clean, people will find the beauty in your community. Okay, joke number 2. This is even stupider. So now I'm riding my bike down this country road because my car's broke.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm riding pretty fast. It's a dirt road. And up alongside me runs this chicken. And I'm kind of scared. Like, oh, my God, that's the fastest chicken I ever saw. So I pedal faster. I'm really scared. And the chicken pedals up with me as well. And I look down and he's got 3 legs. A 3-legged chicken. No wonder he's so fast. So I slam on the brakes. The chicken passes me. He jumps into this yard filled with these 3-legged chickens zooming around the yard all around. And I go, oh, my God. I go up to the farmhouse and I say, how'd you do that? I mean, wow. And the farmer says, well, my wife and I would like drumsticks, and my boy likes drumsticks. So we just bred till we got 3-legged kind. I say, oh, my God, that's amazing. How they taste? Well, don't know. Never caught one. Stupid joke. But that led me to say sometimes you do things you don't get the credit for.
Yeah.
You plant a tree that you don't see the shade from, but future generations do. A stupid little speech. The third joke is the worst joke I've ever told in life. I love it. It's so stupid. So now I'm walking down a country road. I look up ahead and I see this farmer with a pig. And he picks up the pig and he holds him up near a tree. And the pig grabs an apple. And he sets him down. And the pig eats the apple. I walk a little closer. He does it again. Picks up his pig, puts him near another branch, gets an apple in his mouth, sets him down, lets him eat the. So now I'm up by the fence and I say, hey, farmer, that's a pretty cool trick. I just want to say, don't you think you could save time if you just like took a stick and knocked a couple of apples off the branches for the pig? And he looks at me and says, time? What's time to a pig? Stupid joke. But that led me to say, again, don't listen. You can't solve the world's problems in one day. Even if you plant a single seed, it may take a long time to be on the oak and learn these things. What's time to all of us, and especially the old people I'm talking to mostly in these kind of speeches. What is time? So stupid speeches.
They're not really stupid, though. I mean, they make a difference, it sounds like, right? Around the community, your community and whatnot. It's made differences.
I made them feel good about themselves, sure.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. You self-confident. As a comedian, you've had a lot of comedians on your shows. I mean, you're trying to make people like you. You find things that relate to you and make fun of not so much them. You could do some crowd work and roast battles and stuff. But generally, comedy is not. It's very make fun of yourself or find stupid things people relate to. Those 3 jokes I can tell to 88-year-olds in nursing homes. I do all the time. I make most of my money in comedy by doing retirement centers. And you never book those. You don't ever promote those because they're all only for people in their home. They never leave. There's little theaters. It's way more fun, but it's hard.
I have to say this, and this is super random. For all my audio listeners, Michael has probably the best looking eyes I have seen.
You're so kind.
That has actually dawned at my podcast. I haven't. I'm sorry, I haven't taken my eyes off your eyes, and I'm just like, those are blue as fuck.
Oh, thank you very much.
Excuse my language, but holy cow.
Yeah, so it's a blessing and a curse.
Oh, what kind of comedy do you do? Are you a clean artist, or do you get
Gotta do it all. I mean, it depends. I produce shows. I have a company
I've
called
noticed that.
918 Comedy is my comedy company in Tulsa. You can find me on Facebook mostly. It's the easiest to find my shows. The bars pay me. I'm an old man. They trust me. I'm a businessman. I've been around forever. You can Google me from where life's work. I mean, I've won lifetime achievements and stuff. So they just trust me for no reason. For no reason why people just trust me, but I'm pale, male, and stale. They feel comfort with that as a business person. Right. So then I can pay the younger comics, and they pay me, I pay the comics. There's a lot. So when you do a show, you do all kinds. I do retirement centers. The hardest shows are retirement centers, and especially assisted living, because they never leave. They have no culture references.
Yeah.
Can you do 20 minutes of very clean material to old people who have not been to Chipotle? They've not watched that movie, that cartoon character. They have no clues of these things. Can you do jokes about chickens and bicycles and about old black and white TV shows you watched when you were a kid that they would remember? So it's really hard work. 20 minutes of that's really hard.
I feel like it'd be easy for me because
Good.
I feel like I don't know. You could probably push politics. I'm a political comedian. Yeah. And I like to make fun of both sides, obviously.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
So
nothing like dividing the room from the first joke. But it's split you in two. It's America.
I am that kind of pot stirrer when I do comedy. I haven't done comedy myself in a while. Okay. I went to OKC Culture to check it out.
Oh, good.
Maybe
cool.
maybe half a month ago, maybe a month ago, and I did an okay set, but it wasn't like when you step out of it for a while, it's hard to get back into it.
It's just trigger points in people. I was involved in politics, and now I do lobbying on the environmental movement. I'm in the state capitol all the time. I work in the Conservation Coalition. I do this weird nonprofit work that's real estate tax law. And I go to the legislature, and I'm friends with all sides. And probably the best thing I can say is that even though I'm a far, far left and well-known liberal, I got appointed to committee by Kevin Stitt this year, by the governor, who's far, far right. And some of the best people, my senator, he texts me all the time and says, what's your opinion on these bills? Because he knows I'm a crazy purist, and I'm going to say I'm not going to have nothing to lose. I'll tell you exactly what I think, who wins, who loses, whatever. So I'm really good at my job for those kind of things because I'm a good communicator of ideas. Don't talk politicians. You can talk politics. You can talk issues. You can talk about homeless people and all cops are bastards, but don't mention a cop. And it's kind of weird to say it that way. You got to be careful. So here's my political jokes. I tried these right when Trump lost the election to Biden. So I did 2 anti-Biden jokes. I'm like, oh, that's a fine ratio. Now I can do a Trump joke. Now I did do like a 300 Biden jokes because I did 2 Bidens went in the crowd in Oklahoma, loved them. And the one Biden joke they hated. So here's my political joke. So I'm going to hate this podcast.
You mean the one Trump joke?
The one Trump joke. Okay. I'm sorry. The one Trump joke. So Biden just gets elected. He's not inaugurated yet. And my joke was, he's the oldest president ever going to be inaugurated. The oldest one. I understand that. I'm very old, too. I said, he's probably going to have White House dinners at 4:30 with soft foods. And he won't probably only wear dark-colored pants because he's afraid to pee on himself. So 2 jokes, simple jokes, nothing bad.
Right.
Then my Trump joke followed it by saying, and Trump's pissed at his own party. They let him down. So he's going to start his own party called the Patriot Party. Patriot Party, PP. I heard he likes PP. So over the Russian.
That's good.
Whatever. They're stupid jokes. Oh my God. I almost got beat up every time I told the Trump joke. I tried it like 3 times on stage to do, and boom.
Right.
They hated it. So no politics.
My political jokes are like, you remember when Biden or his administration was pushing for the I don't know the whole story. I just kind of read headlines, but the crack pipes, the clean crack pipes and everything.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, I heard like Hunter Biden's heading it, and nice. I can't wait to get my free crack and everything.
Nice.
I was like, I can't wait to go 1,000,000 miles per hour like Hunter. Get my Russian whores and everything.
The thing
and
is,
that one did really well, and my Trump jokes.
But in reality,
aren't terrible either.
The China jokes you could do about Trump's daughters. His daughters. Ivanka has $100 million worth of patents in China. They go into the government. What? Hunter made some millions for blow, and he's but Jimmy Carter's brother Billy got a loan from the Iranian government and to just have his own beer.
Everything's there's ties to everyone. So
George Bush Jr. has a brother named Neil Bush. If you Google Neil Bush, he went to prison for embezzlement. This is the 3 brothers. 2 of them were in politics and one was in prison. They're all the same.
Jeb and Georgie, and then I've
Neil.
never heard of Neil.
Neil, of course, because they kept it down. Yeah. So everybody has this dark person in their closet, and it could be their kid. And I'm sure that they tried to sell their influence, all these kind of things, but no worse than every other kid is done with the same families. And the fact that they've made it about some weird laptop because he had Ukrainian deals. The real issue, if you want politics about this, it was about Ukrainian government, that he had money there he was on the board of directors as a paid staff person from some Korean oil companies. That's the thing.
That he didn't know anything about, right?
Yeah, he did. He did whatever. Okay. He was there. He was there doing business. Ukraine's at war. Russia's at war with Ukraine, kind of like as a comedy, if you know the whole story. So the president of Ukraine was a stand-up comic in high school.
Right, yeah.
He made money to go through college. Him and his friends did stand-up comedy, pay for their education. And he had 2 friends who were into podcasts and videocasts and movies. They made a TV show. He's 24 years old. They start this little production company, and it's a TV show about him being a teacher.
Yeah.
Who talks about corruption. And talks about how you have to fight corruption your whole life. And then in an episode on the 3rd season, he runs for president and wins.
What is that called? It's called, I've watched a season or 2 of it, and it's actually really good. It's all in Ukrainian, but you can get dubbed in English if you want to, but it's so far off.
It's about how he's teaching the young people of the world that you don't have to accept the mafia. You don't have to accept what Russia's doing to us. And then in the show, he runs for president. So the show ends, and then 2 years later, they say, hey, you're an actor. Ronald Reagan was an actor. He became president.
Yeah.
People loved him. Why don't we do this? And he won 62% of the vote.
Correct.
And he pledged against Putin. So Putin's the mafia. Russia's all mafia. If you stand up to the mafia boss, you have to die. And in this case, whatever it takes Putin to win, he has to beat this guy. It's nothing to do about Russian oil or access or pipelines that run through the seas. It's none of this. It's about Putin has to stand up to this guy who stood up to the mafia. You lose all face. Everybody loses.
Well, it's also the UN moving in on Ukraine, because Ukraine's that divider between the UN and Russia border. So, and if UN invades or gets Ukraine, then they legally can move their missiles damn near to the border, which is kind of like the Cuban Missile Crisis here in America. We didn't like that when Russia did it with Cuba. So I understand Russia's point on that, but I do understand your whole point too. Like I'm not dismissing your whole
to tie back to Trump.
Point.
To tie back to Trump, when this happened, Trump wanted to help weaken Ukraine. So if you remember why Trump got impeached, no one remembers this. He got impeached. No one remembers it. It was because he withheld $500 million of money and weapons and help to the Ukrainian army to stop Russia. So Trump said, oh, hey, Ukrainian guy, find me some information about Hunter Biden's laptop, and I will stop the money. And the people were pissed. And so he gets impeached. His own party voted to impeach him, many of his own party, for this thing. So he weakened Ukraine. It all ties back to Trump is the bitch of Putin, and he did everything he can do. And this Hunter Biden thing is just, it's probably true, but who gives a fuck compared to what he did, what Ivanka did in China and all these other people, his rest of his family.
See, I disagree there. I think he stopped the money because Ukraine at that point, I mean, we didn't need to fund them. They're not part of the UN. There's no reason to give them the money at that point. It's a new administration. I felt it fit that we don't need to give
you
a
could
country
say that,
money.
But we do it for everybody.
I don't think we should do it for anybody. I think we should stop.
I'm not disagreeing with your point.
You know?
Yeah, so we're not talking politicians.
Yeah.
We're talking politics. So that's the next one theory. So are we the world's policemen? And why should we be that person?
We shouldn't be.
Okay, I know that. I'm agreeing with you, but here's
I get what you're
example.
saying. Yeah.
So let's say you have a lovely house, a lovely place in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
Say the guy next door is beating the shit out of his kids or his wife.
Yeah.
And you watch it happen.
It's none of my business.
None of your business at all?
No, I just let go. That's my point of view.
Okay. I feel like at some point you have to get involved in stopping terrible things in life.
I mean, I would call the authorities, but I mean,
first step, of course.
That's the first step. Okay, I get that.
Right.
But
if it continues to happen,
I'm already a step ahead of you, because I feel like your next question is like, what would you do as a country at that point when you're looking at, and as a country, it's way different than just a household kind of thing, because as a country, how America works, we police everyone kind of deal. Like
it's because it's industry for us.
Yes, it's a capitalistic industry that we make money off of.
In the federal government, a bunch of our money is already committed. I mean, we got certain things that are done. You have to do. Of the remaining money left, 52 cents on the dollar goes to fund military. We have more military spending in America than the next 19 countries combined. 2 through 20 are spending this amount of money, and we're spending all of them more than that.
Right.
So
we're just giving it away after wars,
it's
too.
It's industry. No, it's
I mean, look at Afghanistan. We left, $80 billion worth of equipment there. It's just, I mean, I get,
we have 52 military bases in Germany.
Exactly.
Current military bases. Why do we have 52 American military bases in Germany? No, it's because it's industry. It's jobs. It's all these things.
You and I, as a citizen, understand that we don't, here's my thought process. I would be okay with 1 or 2 in each country, not 52 in it.
Of course.
I don't want to police the world, but I would like a presence in the world, I feel like every country should have some type of presence in their own form in the world,
how are wars fought in the future? I could make a prediction and think, we're doing this, and we need, the reason we have the interstate highway system in America
is because we can fight on both paths, isn't it? That's what I heard I-35 was for, so we could fight Canada and...
Further back, Dwight D. Eisenhower was the general in the war. Mm-hmm. He did and won the war in Africa and in Europe with tanks. Okay. And the hardest thing to do is get tanks to the front. So he said when he came back and they elected him president, he says, I'm going to build highways so my tanks can get anywhere to fight any battle. We built the highways. We killed Route 66. The movie Cars was about killing the highway. We did it because Dwight D. Eisenhower decided he wanted to be able to move stuff fast, move heavy equipment fast across.
So he built I-40, right?
He built all of them. The entire interstate system of America is built
I-5,
because this.
I-40, I-35.
Everything. They all built all these roads through our communities.
Is I-40 the one that parallels 66?
They go up and down. Yeah, I-44 is through Oklahoma,
okay.
but yeah. I'm not a big fan of Route 66 because I'm a progressive. I went Route 67. That's a stupid joke.
I get it. What do you do in your free time? Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't do research on my guest a lot, but with you, we're friends on Facebook, so I see a lot of your posts, and you tend to go to Drillers and Cardinal games. You're a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I need to get this guy on my podcast. I'm a big baseball fan. Like, regardless of our politics and beliefs or whatnot, like, there's always that's the funny thing. Regardless of politics in today's atmosphere, I highlight politics because everyone can be like Democrat, Republican. Oh, I hate you because of your party. But you and I being comedians and plus like having that kind of niche of baseball, I was like, I feel comfortable that I could sit down and actually agree, and I think we could have have a civil conversation and all that, and even dive into politics too, and not like.
Baseball's a thinking man game for sure. All the actions between pitches. We're like, what's going to happen? Oh, look at this. This is going to happen. He's going to throw a first ball fastball, and this guy's going to take the ball to the right. And I mean, all these things. The more you know, the more you enjoy the action between the innings, between the pitches.
I've been working a radio for Stillwater, and I'm doing their softball games.
Nice.
And it's really fun doing the behind the scenes because, I mean, though I'm producing the game and not actually at the game itself, I'm sitting in a dark room, but a box and just clicking buttons and stuff. It's still like really cool experience. Yeah. And like usually I'd have a producer over there doing basically what I do for, my boss, man. And it's a great experience. Plus, I learn more about softball. There's things I didn't realize about softball that I like.
Yeah, there's smaller field, bigger ball.
You can't steal until the pitch is left.
Right. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the ball has more spin, bigger ball rotation and physics. So you see pitches they could never see in baseball. So even with stick-em, all things are dirt cheap with now.
I watched so much just like amateur, like parks type of softball, like you and I's age softball, and I'm like,
slow pitch softball. I was good at that. I was good at slow pitch.
And then you get to watch college softball, and you're just like, oh, I did not see that ball at all. Like that was a green line straight to the catcher's glove.
Right. Any athlete who's not a baseball player cannot get a hit off a fastball pitcher. If you're a baseball player, you could. If you're not a baseball player, they do it all the time. I've seen them in exhibition games strike out many basketball players and football. But quarterbacks, you're so good. Boom, boom, boom. Strike, strike, strike. They have no clue.
I've never seen a baseball player hit off a softball player.
Yeah, there's exhibition games and things happen all the time, and people do this, but it's kind of fun. Yeah, so again, I was 11 years old. My first job, I made money, was at the baseball stadium. I got the
old Driller
Stadium in the fairgrounds. The one before that. So I'm that old. I'm 60. About to be 65.
Where was the one before that?
About 200 feet to the west.
So about the same area. Okay.
Yeah. So in fact, there's a spot there. There's a little home plate painted on the parking lot in Drillers, and the Stadium Expo Square where the old original home plate was.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. The place. I rode my bike there, and the baseball coach knew me, saw me as a kid, and said, "Hey kid, would you hang out, rack some bats for us?" And suddenly I was a bat boy. And
that's cool.
I hang at the ballpark. This is how stupid it is. One of the reasons I crave attention is because I got attention. I got my name in the paper.
Yeah.
But when I was 13, I was this kind of celebrity among my friends because I sold at the ballpark sodas, and all my friends who loved baseball listened to the baseball games at night. Mom, go to bed. Can I listen to the game? They listened to the Tulsa Oiler games, the old Cardinals farm team. And
are they still the Cardinals farm team?
No.
Who are they farm team?
Dodgers now.
So it's L.A. Dodgers, Oklahoma City Dodgers.
Yeah.
Then Tulsa Drillers.
Yeah, AA here. I would be on radio. They'd hear my voice, and they'd say, "Hey, I heard you on the radio last night," because I would be booming saying, "High school, Hey, score, and I was 13 years old.
That's
This
awesome.
humongous child screaming, and they could pick me up. It's a small ballpark, you know,
Right.
and on the radio, they'd hear me say that. So I was like that's stupid.
That's awesome.
People are like, oh, you're somebody. No, I just have a loud voice. I'm working. I'm 13. I'm hustling, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you got to think, like, when I started this podcast and my friends, just my, group of friends, comics, everyone, they're like, I like that podcast. Like, they actually were listening. It's like, holy crap. Like, it's that kind of thing, So, like, even though you were selling ice cold pop, but still, you were on the radio. You were still,
I did,
That's funny.
Well, I've always hustled in life. I have a lot of respect for everybody who hustles. Every side gig, everybody who does these things, I have a lot of respect for because I've always had them. I've always done that. I've always wanted to have some money. I want to have something to do something with, Have some woman who want to take her out on a date tonight. I have some cash.
Are you married, if you don't mind me asking?
Nope. I've had 3 divorces so far.
Okay, I was going to say, you have a son, right?
I have a son and a daughter.
Okay.
My second marriage probably broke up because of baseball.
No shit.
She said, you love baseball more than me. And I said, I love you more than football. And I loved football. I love it. I said, I was like, and she's furious. I said, Nanny, there's a list. There's God and country, and you're on the list. Yeah. We were divorced like 7 months later.
Oh, God.
So, but,
no, I mean, baseball is hard to beat. I mean, people say it's a dying sport, which I don't disagree. But at the same time,
ratings are up this year. Games are half hour
but
faster.
I don't like the clock. What's your opinion on the clock? It makes the sport, I think it kills the sport in itself just because it's now a timed sport.
No one notices it. And the players, they did it for 3 years in the minors.
Okay.
And it got through. I watched them in the driller games. Here's what it stops. It stops the batter in the batting box with his bat in his hand, readjusting the Velcro in his batting gloves over and over. Every swing he adjusts.
Because it's not just for the pitcher, too. It's also for the batter.
It's everything.
Right?
It's made games. Everything's about TV money. And you have a game people want to watch. And baseball is so slow, people stopped watching. Now it's a teeny bit faster. They went from 3 hours a game to 2.5 hours a game. Just enough. And it's just enough now. Now it's more exciting. Now I don't feel like I have to stare at my phone between every pitch. I miss things because it's so slow. Who cares? I miss a pitch and stuff. And so now the shot has made nothing more than that. It's made the players like, come on, you're professional. Get ready. Don't sit in the box and do your Velcro gloves. Just go. Just get up there. Go. And the pitcher can't just stare at him and shake off all the pitches and stuff. Go. Just pitch. I mean, make it happen. And each player gets a timeout. So there's been very little impact on the game besides it's made the game just a little bit faster pace. The bigger bases has been exciting. I like 3 inches more has made a lot more stolen bases.
Is it 3? Okay.
Now, each base is 3 inches more, so that means you're 6 inches closer to be able to get back and get over.
See, I haven't paid attention to this season.
Yeah,
I just heard about the preseason with the clock and everything.
Yeah. So that's been minor. Baseball, everybody else changes. They changed football today. They changed the fair catch rule on kickoffs today. They announced the NFL did. So every other sport has changed. What touchdowns are worth. The 20-yard line. There used to be the end zones were 20 yards deep, and the goalposts were at the back. Their front right there at the back. I mean, they changed the game dramatically. Baseball doesn't. Baseball's still the same 90 feet. 90 feet between bases, 60 feet, 6 inches the ballpark. It's still 4 balls, 3 strikes. It's very similar. I mean, each ballpark is different. So these are little tweaks to keep the same game, little team tweaks, just to kind of come on. We aren't making major changes. We're not saying that suddenly you have 5-run home runs or anything like everybody else. 3-point in basketball. They weren't even legal when I was young. And women had to play 6 on 6 because 3 offense, 3 defense. Everything was stupid. And these are good tweaks for them.
Okay.
And baseball's a fascinating game. I mean, a few more things about it. Every team in baseball at the end of the season, almost exclusively, a few every year, maybe at the most, but in a few in a decade, will win a third of their games and lose a third of their games. Every team. The whole difference between the very best and the very worst is that other third as a team. But as a player, it's even more so. So the batting averages have gone down a little bit. They're going up this year. The bases helped a little bit, and they can't do the shift, which helps left-handed batters. But there's 26 weeks in the season, and to qualify for the batting crown, to get the number of hits it takes to be a 300 hitter, say, for example, you have to have 500 at bats. So it's 150 hits. Well, to bat 300 is 150 hits. If you bat 300, you're a star. Only 10 players last year did it. If you bat 200, or say 250, which is the league average,
you're doing pretty well.
You're right. You're the average player. The difference in the average player and the all-star player, if you think about, wait a second, how many hits is that? Oh, that's 25 hits in 26 weeks. It's one hit per week. One hit per week from the very, very best player and the average player. Everything is that close. Everything is that tight. Every game matters. Every at-bat, every pitch. It's just no other sport's this way. No other team dominates. No other players are that. It's like everyone's a golfer and everyone has the same score. And just 2 or 3 strokes is the difference between all the golfers. That's what baseball's like, and it's amazing. So it's a fun game if you like stats, if you like numbers.
Yeah, I like that. Do you pay attention to golf?
Some. I try to play golf.
John Daly, I think, is retiring, right?
Oh, really? He was so much fun.
I think he announced he's officially retiring after this season.
He would come to Tulsa and then spend all his money playing poker at the casino. So he spent like $200,000 at Rivers Pier one time.
Have you ever seen his house or his?
No.
It's all just Razorback stuff. Apparently,
Nice.
is what I've heard. So
Fun. Well, I believe everyone should try to play golf. It's a stupid sport. It's George Carlin did a routine that you hit the ball, and if you find it, you pick it up in your pocket. You're lucky to damn find it.
Yeah.
And stuff. Kind of a funny idea about and waste of good space. And there's a bunch of things against it, but it is kind of aerobic. Even if you have the cart, you have to still walk. Even if you drive a car, you still walk a mile or two.
Yeah.
Because you can't drive the carts on the greens and the tees or anything.
Exactly.
And so it's still, I'm just very bad at it. But I'm also very bad at bowling. So if I could trade the two sports, I mean, I can bowl in the 60s and golf in the 200s. If I could trade the scores, I'm a two-sport athlete.
If I golf, I'm usually drinking and just having fun. Is my thing.
I'm great at tournaments. That's what I'm good at. I hit the ball straight and short, and so everybody else can go crazy, and I'm safe. I'm the safe golfer, and I only play really charity tournaments where someone says Michael's fun. He's a comedian, and he's okay golfer. So I get to be the fourth person all the time because I'm funny, and free golf and free drinks, and and free food, and so they're fun. So for charity.
Yeah, exactly. No, I enjoy baseball just because I've grown up with it all my life. Football's become a new thing for me since I moved here to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I was originally from Seattle for 6 years of my life, so
cool.
Grew up with the Mariners.
What part of Seattle? What part?
The Woodinville area.
North, south, east?
North.
Okay.
North of Lake Washington.
Okay, excellent.
So,
Seattle's pretty cool. It's quite different from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I only lived there for 6 years, and then I moved here, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah.
And I appreciate my parents moving me here over Seattle after watching political movements happen and everything, and I just feel like being in a rural town itself is
COVID too. I mean, you could say that. You could say
I mean, not even rural town here in Oklahoma. Everywhere in Oklahoma was pretty safe. I feel like it was. By safe I mean like we were operating in the certainties that we needed to, like we were still an open state where we could still do business. And
I think people here are pretty laid back. We have a lot of cows.
Yeah.
We look at cows. That's kind of like looking at art every day.
Yeah.
And Seattle, everybody's over caffeinated. I mean,
and very suicidal too up there. No offense, guys. I don't have any listeners in Washington, but yeah.
The Space Needle is a needle in the side of their city. Oh my God, they've got a hypodermic needle in the city. But the caffeine, I think there's a problem.
Oh, you just made me think of a joke now.
Okay.
Just thinking about it, I'm like, I wonder how much heroin you could fit in the Space Needle.
Yeah, great.
Enough to overdose Kurt Cobain, obviously.
Yeah, there's got to be a 90 seconds there. Just going. There's got to be a full 90. Keep going.
I got it. That's all I got for now.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing to ride on. So I think it's a key thing. Yeah. I don't drink coffee myself. I think coffee is a cult. I really do.
I drink coffee, but I don't drink it like religiously or anything. Like my boss will pay for it when I'm going to work. So like if he's getting it, he'll send me the little Starbucks key card thing, and I'll be like, I'll get myself something, But other than that, I'm not like, I need it, Yeah,
I have these wide-eyed people constantly offering me, come on, join us, please have coffee, go. And especially when you're depressed, people say, come have coffee with me. You know what helps when you're depressed? Bread. Toast. So it makes you happy. So say, let's have a bagel together. Not a drink, not coffee. No. Really offer your friends who are depressed. I made you some toast. It'll make them happier every time. So I don't. Coffee is fine. It's very bitter to me. I'll tell you one other weird speech I did. It was about sustainability. So sustainability is a great word everybody knows now. It means not ruining the world for future generations in any way. Okay. That's a sustainable movement. So, I mean, don't use up all the oil because other future may need oil too. Why use it all now? Kind of that. That's the simple movement. It doesn't mean anything in politics. It became liberal because Al Gore was an asshole and he started to make the environment. Seriously, the environmental movement, I mean, Richard Nixon started the EPA. It was a conservative thing. Conservation, conservatives, all these things. Conserving resources, conserving our money, conserving our, all these rights, all these things. But then Al Gore made it all political, which I hate the guy for, because there's no reason why one side could care about the planet more than the other side.
Well, he was wrong, too. Didn't he predict by 2020 Florida would be underwater?
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably should be. I go there all the time.
I mean, yes, I don't disagree. But
a good washing, let it dry out again, but that wouldn't be a bad thing.
A tidal wave and then put it back. I like the state of Florida. I don't like the Gators and the people. It depends on the people. You got a 50-50 chance of meeting good people down in Florida or the Florida man himself.
Yeah, I go there all the time. My parents are alive. They're in assisted living. I do comedy shows there. Actually, I've been more work in Florida
So you're like
lately.
the Oklahoma Jerry Seinfeld.
Whatever, yeah.
You got parents down in Florida.
Yeah.
Are you Jewish too?
No.
Oh, this close.
Yeah, it's fun. It's hard. Like I said, hard work, but so to do, I'm in for this kind of. But I go to Florida a lot, and it's not just the Gators. They have gators and crocodiles. They have pythons.
When did they get crocodiles?
They got them all now. Everything. They got spiders. They have ants that bite you to kill you.
Crocodiles are new there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. I was about to say, I haven't heard that.
Everything in Florida wants to kill you. That's my attitude. Everything wants to kill you.
Florida is the Australia of America, I think, or Texas. I'm not sure. Like the people in Australia, I feel like are the Texans of America.
Yeah.
But like Florida is like the actual environment of Australia. Like it has everything that wants to kill us.
I know. It's I go there. I went for baseball this year. I went for 5 spring training games. So in March, it's super cheap. The games are like $20.
Where is that? Palm?
All around. I went to Jupiter's where the Cardinals played. But I went to West Palm. I went to Jupiter. I went to Tampa. Went to Lakeland. Went to Fort Myers. And there's all these type stadiums, and they're all close. Who do you
follow? I know you're a
Cardinals. Cardinals is
fan.
number one. My son's middle name is McGuire. I'm a Cardinal fan.
Okay,
and that's
evidence enough.
I'm probably going to go tomorrow to Kansas City and drive just for one game. The Cardinals are in Kansas City tomorrow, 1:15. I'm probably going to go up there just to drive up real fast and see the game.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow's Memorial Day. So
I know, 1:15 game, and they play 2 in Kansas City every year. One of them's on a holiday. It's only 3.5 hours from here. I could go. I might.
You should.
We'll see. I just went to 2 weekends ago. I saw Dodgers St. Louis. I was in St. Louis for 3 days.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
All 3 games. And I'm about to go to Florida. I'm going to Florida on the 14th. So for 7 days. So I shouldn't go just real quick drive to Kansas City. So
yeah, what does it hurt? Are you a Chiefs fan too, I guess?
I'm a Packers fan first and Chiefs second.
How do you feel about Rodgers leaving?
It was time. He's an asshole. So it was time. He has remarkable arm talent,
right,
and an asshole personality. Aaron Love's going to be the car. I bought an Aaron Love jersey online the day he was drafted because I didn't want to cheer for him. I just wanted a shirt that said Love on the back of my shirt for the Packers. So I have a Love jersey that's an authentic one. His first start was in Kansas City, so I went to that game as well.
That's cool.
And the Packers are the only team owned by nonprofit. If you don't care about football out there and you're listening to this podcast, here's why. Of all the major sports of basketball, hockey, football,
they're
baseball,
owned by the fans, aren't they?
Nonprofit foundation, and I own a share of stock. I went for $450 like 4 years ago. So I own
how much?
$450. I own a share of stock in the company. But there's a whole bunch of people like me who are fans. But it's a nonprofit. It's not. I mean, Jerry Jones is a nice guy, I'm sure, but he owns the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why there's a hole in the stadium for the Cowboys is so his ego can fit in the stadium.
Also, the reason the Dallas Cowboys can't make the Super Bowl is because of his decisions, too. I mean, he won't let go of a quarterback when it's time to let go of a quarterback. Right. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan. Yeah. I'm actually your arch enemy.
Yeah.
Politically and in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm a Vikings fan.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Vikings fan. Great, I love the organization. I just don't like purple. But for Jerry Jones, when he bought the team for the Cowboys, I was watching the press conference on ESPN. They said, "Oh, Jerry Jones, why did you buy the Dallas Cowboys?" And he says, "Because I'm a billionaire and no one knows it, and now they do." I mean, he was 100% ego. It was 100%. I don't blame him, man. That's a big job.
I mean, when you have the money,
right,
you might as well swing your dick with it too.
That's right. So the thing, but it's just kind of like he's hurt his team. You know, the team has 3 playoff wins in 25 years, and you know, no Super Bowls. Come on, you know, let someone else make the decision out there, not you. Not you're some swinging dick owner. That's all you're doing wrong.
I don't have faith in his son either. Everyone's saying his son is the next one to come up, and I'm like, you realize it's just a pattern. Like his son went to elite schools.
Yeah,
he's a prissy little billionaire that's just going to run it just how his father ran it.
New England Patriots and the Kraft family passed it on to their kids, and they kept the traditions well. So
hey, but I'll admit with Kraft did something and took a chance on Belichick.
Yeah,
Belichick had a losing season with Cleveland after he was released, and then he went to New England. And I'll give it to Belichick and Kraft both. They got lucky in that pick, that last 7th round pick with Brady.
Yeah.
And they actually made a franchise and a dynasty for themselves.
Hey, I say that about Brady. I hated the guy because he beat my teams all the time. I'm a degenerate gambler. I mean, I'm $1 player, but I gamble on everything $1. I got baseball bets today.
I did prize picks for a long time, doing the player, like you can do that. And,
data fantasy.
Because we don't have DraftKings here, which is that's the biggest mistake I think we're missing out as a state is the whole sports gambling.
So I will talk politics with you about this.
Yeah,
our governor fucked it up. 100%. I fucked it up. So here's the thing. I'm an expert at this. I'm a degenerate.
Let's talk about this real quick.
The state of Kansas. So when you go to the casino in Oklahoma, the tribes self-report their income. And I believe what they're reporting. I think there's no and they pay for every dollar they make in profit on the slot machine. They pay 3.5% to the state. On the dice and card games, 5.5%. Well, Kansas is making 10% on sports. Pittsburgh is taxing at 50%.
Yeah, but they're not going through tribes, right?
No, it's the same. Yeah, same thing. So DraftKings owns the tribal casino in Kansas City now. It was built by the tribes. They're all partners in all of it.
Okay, so, I got you.
And it doesn't matter. The tribes.
So they partner with the tribal casinos.
The reason the tribes have in Oklahoma is the word exclusive. They have an exclusivity clause.
Okay.
So they say we want to be the only people to take it. We're willing to pay you instead of 10%, 11%. So they made these deals with the governor, with Brad Carson, governor first, and now with Stitt. And Stitt thought we could negotiate them. He's an asshole, and he just pissed them all off. I'm surprised he got reelected. But what's happened is the tribal chiefs don't control the tribal members. But the tribal chiefs all hate Stitt because he was an asshole to all of them. If he'd just gone to them and said, hey, guys, you got these good deals, 3.5%, 5%. We're going to do sports gambling at 10. What do you think? They would have said yes, because that's the low end. That's what Kansas does. Pennsylvania does 50%. Every other state is 10, 20, 30. Illinois is 30. They could have made so much money for Oklahoma if he just
made a stick of it.
And he, an idiot, instead of saying, here's what the numbers are, you guys want the word exclusive? We'll give it to you. You guys got all the, in fact, all this is a machine.
He wanted to redraw the contract that Brad
Carson did. And he thought he could, even though his lawyers were wrong. He lost. He lost everywhere. And he wouldn't shut up. He's a businessman, not a governor.
Right.
He thinks I'm a businessman, I can renegotiate everything. No, you can't. There's long-term contracts. You can't renegotiate. You can't do these things.
What was the negotiation with the contract?
He just announced all your contracts are going to be rewritten. He just announced it. And they all said, what the fuck? No, the language says these contracts exist on behalf of one of the parties. Any one of the parties can keep this contract going. So, and Stitt just thought, oh, no, I can do this. He didn't read the damn contract. And he just made them all bad. He just threatened them all. He threatened them all because they won't get his way. He just wanted to raise the money. He should have gone after the oil producers, the gross production tax.
I mean, we only tax them at 2%.
The gross production tax.
We are the cheapest. What I've heard on oil, we are the cheapest on oil taxation. Texas... I argued with a Democratic, what was her? She's a House representative.
Okay. Here in Stillwater? Or?
Yeah. Okay. No, it wasn't even her. It was Miss Johnson from Tulsa.
Okay.
Yeah. And I asked her a simple question. I was like, because she's the founder of she's Miss Marijuana or whatever. And I asked her about the whole taxation of oil here because we only tax them at like 2 to 5% when Texas is taxing these oil businesses at 15 to 20%. Why are we not trying to tax, you know, because we're getting taken advantage by these oil companies that are fracking, and you're the party. I mean, at that point, you know, I was directing not, you know, she's the party that doesn't want the fracking. So at that point, why aren't we taxing them more for the fracking?
Every oil company in the world has said record profits for 3 straight years.
Right.
No one seems to blame them for the price of gas. They want to blame Biden. Wait a second. I mean, gas was over $4 when Trump for a while.
Correct.
Price, it's very cyclical. It's ran by oil companies and rich Arab sheiks, and has nothing to do. Biden has no control over more than a nickel or a dime of the price of gas. And it's all about supply and demand. It's a law we can't overcome with politics. And right now, the driving season, everyone's school's ending, people are taking vacations. It's Memorial Day weekend. That's why gas has went up 20%.
Yeah. I get
And cleaner fuels for the summer. There's other factors there.
I'll rebuttal on that with I agree with you on the whole oil thing up to a point. I feel like if we were drilling oil here in America, we did get to a point where we could start selling it under the Trump administration, and we didn't. So I find that Trump's fault.
Oil.
But like, I feel like if we had continued instead of shutting everything down, because I'm not against going green with the, you know, the environmental friendly cars and everything, but we can't just shut everything down to a point where, okay, we're done. Now we have to rely on other countries for oil while we're trying to go fully green. Yeah. What we should have done was slowly over the next 10 to 15, 20 years, slow the oil businesses down because we don't have the new green energy jobs available for these people either.
I wish the last 2 presidents had said, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know, the WPA projects, when we went to space in the 60s, the president came on, John Kennedy, and said, you know, we're going to build a rocket ship. We're going to beat the damn Russians to the moon. We're going to change the world.
I'm very optical. I don't think we went to the moon, but continue.
Yeah. But the point was, he inspired kids to take math classes. Elementary kids became good at math. Men became good at math mostly, unfortunately, because math teachers are men too, and it's a very weird sexist thing. But we became good at engineering. We became to build the best engineers. They weren't the Germans anymore. We were the best engineers because we were inspired to build aerospace engineering. We were so inspired by this. The WPA projects were works programs. After the Great Depression, we said we want craftsmen. Tulsa is filled with beautiful Art Deco buildings. Miami and Tulsa are the most because we got government money to make people learn to make beautiful buildings and become craftsmen in construction jobs, which are great economy jobs. And so what's the thing we should have done now? I thought we should have done either high-speed railroad, or we should have done something that would make such a difference and change in our culture completely that we could have done. And I wish they would have done this. They could have put the infrastructure into green technology. We could have easily done this.
A high-speed railroad system would be great.
Right.
But, I mean,
we pay for it, we don't get it.
Where we sit at right now, we paid for tracks that aren't even being updated or being, you know, up to date on anything. So
our gas tax dollars, when you buy a gallon of gas in Stillwater, you pay 37 cents in total taxes, Oklahoma taxes and federal taxes and everything combined, 37 cents. It's not changed. It's not changed in your lifetime. So it's the one tax, and it's based on per gallon. So is it really a tax? I mean, the identity taxes are things based on dollar amounts. Your home tax, your sales tax, your income tax. Everything else is a fee. Right. So it's a true fee on top of these things. So this per pound, per gallon, per person, those things are fees. So we have a gas tax that doesn't change. When we make cars more efficient, we actually use less gasoline. So then we lose the tax base for there. You would think that a president over the years in your lifetime would have said, oh, let's make this a flat tax instead of a tax per gallon or something else. Find some other way to do it and the tax is more free.
What do you mean by a flat tax? So like...
Well, I mean...
Is it kind of like how weed is? Like I walk in and, you know, I can buy a quarter for $20 and pay for $20 and the tax is included on that? Or?
Yeah, no, that's the business themselves taking the taxes back out of your deal. Okay. So here's when you buy weed in Oklahoma. And by the way...
And I understand what a flat tax technically is. Like, I kind of heard about the whole federal idea of a flat tax where instead of we're paying into the IRS at the end of the year or having to file our taxes at the end of the year, everything we pay for is already taxed, and that is already going into the system.
Yeah, it's a way for people who have tax dodges to beat the system. And so flat taxes means...
you can't beat the system with flat tax, can you?
Yeah, sure. Because the flat tax means you don't pay income tax, you pay more in sales tax and property tax.
Okay.
So if you want to really discuss taxes with somebody and their state versus your state, and do Washington State versus Oklahoma, Google overall tax burden.
Okay.
Because Oklahoma, we have a sales tax and Texas doesn't. Yeah, but their property tax is so much higher.
Right. Yeah.
So the
I knew
overall,
that.
Oklahoma is 48th.
It balances out.
Last
for
time I
Texas
looked, we were 48th in the state for all states in terms of overall tax burden. This is a very cheap place to live.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it fucking shows. That's why we got potholes everywhere. We
Yeah.
are not willing to pay for anything. And one part about, and generally the Democrats and Republicans, the more urban area you live in, the more you have interaction with government, because you do have rail lines and bus lines and all these public libraries and all these kind of things. So cities with big cities, or states with big cities, are liberal areas. So if you look at the population centers, in fact, outside of, say, of Texas, all the cities in the top 10 in population are in liberal states. So those are winning politics going forward. So it's almost like you can predict every single election based on the rural versus urban population. Because if they are more rural in their mindset, they're a Republican, because they're like, no, we do it on our own. We got our own shit. Stay out of my gut, them shit and stuff. Where the Democrats are like, no, we need help. We can't solve these problems without all of us together solving these problems. So it's like Republicans are proud of the rich and Democrats are ashamed of the poor. And they're both right. They're both right. You should be proud of the rich, especially if they made it on their own, not just inherited it. And things. You should be incredibly proud of. Look what they did, the ideas they came up with, and the work they put into it.
And you should be ashamed of the poor, because I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm ashamed of them. It's I'm ashamed that we have it in the first place. You know, like,
so that's real politics. That's talking issues, not politicians. Right. How do we solve the things that both of us care about? How do we help the rich? And not just overtax them, but have them understand their burden and responsibilities. And they do, just not through government. They don't want to pay taxes. They'd rather give the money directly to the church or the university or something else. So, and all this, as long as it all works, it's fine. How they change the laws on giving has changes. That really affects more of the lives we have than simple tax rates. Me and you don't make enough money to be what the big corporations do. Right. So we don't really know. There's almost no difference between your taxes under Biden and under Trump, almost none. But the things that the rich people get away with are quite different. So they can find ways. So in a flat tax, in essence, you're predicting you're paying 22% federal tax now on sales tax. Okay. So right now, what do you pay on federal sales tax? Nothing. The state, the county, and the city have that. So every sales tax you buy, you're willing to add 22 cents more on that for sales tax, but in exchange, trade it out for income tax. Well, that's great, except how many things are tax-free? The rich people buy things that are tax-free. They don't tax haircuts and things. They don't tax massages and services and things like this aren't taxed. So, and nonprofits, you form a nonprofit, you form a church. The churches now own dramatic amounts of real estate. They're not tax-free. And how do schools get paid? They get paid by property tax. So if you take things off of the rolls to have a church own something that used to produce income, there's a shopping center. There's 2 in L.A. There's 1 in Bixby now owned by a church. So now the schools don't get that property tax. So how do you fund the world? Do you fund it when people make money or when they spend money? Do you fund it when they have real money or when they have to assistance money? How do you fund things? There's no answers. There's no easy answers.
There isn't. No, there's not. Because someone's going to get hurt regardless.
Man, we have a God-given right here to not pay things, we think, oh my God, why should I ever have to pay for anything in my life? Not realizing that how do you ride that road? How do you drive here to make that protest? Someone built that road. Yeah. Someone together did this. Here's my attitude toward it. I'm willing to pay more for a better community. Just prove you're spending the money right. Prove to me. Let me decide, what's on the list? What road gets done this year? What park gets improved? Let me help decide that. Not someone else. As long as I have some overview from that, and I don't have with the federal government, I have none of this. My congressman doesn't care about my individual life. They're all playing some wild politics game. Yeah. My state representative probably doesn't very much. Really only your mayor and your city councilor, maybe your county commissioners are the ones you really vote for, where you get a chance to have input and have things. So thus, the closer you are to your government, the smaller the political subdivision, the more likely you are to believe in those people. Well, they're a Democrat, but they're my friend, and I've known them, and I trust them. Or they're a Republican, but yes, they've done good things for us. So it's good on the local level. We hate the federal level. Yeah. So, and we shouldn't hate. If I could have a crystal ball, I would not have 2 parties. I'd have 4. I'd have
multiple different parties. I don't think it should be a 2-party system.
Of course, but the 2 parties want it to be 2 parties.
Well, why 4?
Dark red, light red, dark blue, light blue. So there's the hard purist.
Yeah, okay.
And so you would only hate the dark red if you were blue.
What about a fifth party though? You
Well, it
do
could be.
you know,
Could
so
be.
you have
undecided crazies. Yeah.
a purple.
It could be. Purple could be, and purple really is the red, the two lights. The two lights are all purple.
So
so centrist, the purple parties would run the world because they have all the one side and half of or a fourth of the other side. So the middle would run the world, and that'd be a much better place. We'd have a centrist run country.
Yeah.
We don't want centrists. We want alarmists. We want people to get elected today in many places. Yeah. You want someone who wants to fight and scream and yell until every single thing. We're not going to negotiate anything.
No, I don't want that at all. Yeah. I want a centrist. I want someone that will benefit for the world. Like, I don't know where I saw it. It might have been TikTok or something, but there was like a thing that, excuse me, that like a TV show that they had an AI system generate the all the politicians, right, that were running for government, and they found with the AI did all the data on who was the most purist or the best president for the situation, and it took in all what was going on in the world and everything and situations and everything, and it picked that one person, and it influenced everyone to vote for that person. My problem is, like, AI is great, but the problem with AI is who is creating the AI, where it becomes biased.
What becomes the factors they use to rate things? Why is this factor worth 2 and that one's worth 1? Everything's that way. So there's no AI that doesn't have some
bias. It's going to be biased.
The person who writes the program gets to decide that. We all decide on the score sheet, in essence, from AI. So I'm not afraid of AI. I bless the new robot overlord I will have someday. So AI is just part of that process.
AI terrifies me.
I'm afraid my appliances hate me. I get that. So I beat my computer once at chess. It beat me 3 times in a row, but I beat it at kickboxing. So ever since then, it's hated me.
See, AI. So like one day, you and I won't be sitting here and doing podcasts.
Sure. We will. It will write the scripts for us, though.
AI will just do it for us.
No, it'll write scripts for us. No, people want to have the interaction. They want to have this. But yes, I can see robot women. So I can see this. I can see, the new brothel is some AI chat you need to have in your life.
Well, did you not hear about Houston?
No.
A few years ago, the city council shot it down, but someone bought like 150 Japanese robot sex dolls, and were like realistic, and they could talk and do everything. And he bought a place in somewhere around downtown Houston, and was going to make it a like sex robot brothel.
He should have just been a retailer. So don't have it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens in my house. It's in your house, but here at this price, why not? There's nothing wrong if you can buy them on the internet. You can buy them in America.
Could you pimp them out?
Sure, you can pimp anything out if you're a salesman. But I'm not ashamed.
The question is, would you ever get it back though?
I don't know.
Would you want it back?
I believe. Here, I'll tell you a story about a sex toy. I should never tell this story on radio. So God, I'm gonna hate this podcast.
Good thing this isn't a radio show.
So Mom, I hope my mom never listens. So I get divorced. 3-something years ago, a little bit longer, and it was hard. I've been married 3 times so far. My learning curve's a circle. I know what I'm doing. I'm certified pre-owned in every way. She didn't enjoy sex that much. The first 2 did fine, but the third one really didn't. And I was married to her for by far the longest time, raising kids and stuff. And maybe after kids it would change, but it was hard. I get divorced. At 4:00 on Facebook, I announced I'm separating. She did the same. We agreed to it. We said, okay, at 4:00, slow news cycle. So, and I said, hey, things are good. I'm moving out. I got me a place, and we're going to get divorced, and all things good. Appreciate all your, respect and prayers. Simple message on Facebook. 4:00, hit the send button, 4 p.m. exactly. Can't wait to tell the world. And that's how you announce things. If you're my age, you announce on Facebook, all your relationships.
Right.
So at 4:18, I get this message on Facebook Messenger from a woman who says, Michael, you've always made me laugh. If there's anything I can do, I have open arms and open legs. And I'm like, fuck, I'm in my 60s. I'm like, God dang, I got to follow up on this. I'm going to like being single and stuff. So we do. She went to my church. I've known her a long time. So nice woman. So we have a nice relationship. She likes to drink. She likes to drink a lot. So I convinced her to go to a baseball game in St. Louis.
Oh, God.
So we go to a baseball game. It's everything's fun. We get a hotel room. It's one of the great dates. You should always have your fourth or fifth date. You take someone out of town to a hotel room. You'll understand each other way better if you get it over with. Coming home, she wants to stop at the casino in St. Louis. I said, fine, we really need to get home. And she goes, oh, come on, an hour. So fine. So I went to the sports book and just watched the sports games and stuff while she played plenty slots and drank.
Oh, God.
So she's drunk as shit. So we get in the car, driving home. In Missouri, somewhere between Tulsa and St. Louis, there's a billboard that says adult toy store next exit. And she announces to me, this woman who loves sex announces to me, if you buy me a toy, I will please myself here in the car while you drive us home.
Oh, God.
So, like, first thing I do is hit the blinker, get in the right-hand lane, say, here we go.
Yep.
I do it. We go to the store. I've never been to the store in Missouri before. I'm not a prude or any way, but she buys a dildo, a toy that's the size of a rolling pin.
Jesus Christ.
I'm so emasculated. I'm like, I'm proud of my penis for a white guy, and this,
Right.
you need this? I never can please you ever. I mean, I'm so emasculated by it. Oh, well. She does it. She does this act. Everything's fine. A trucker passed it at one point. Starts going slow. God. And it is like, and I said, there's a trucker coming. And she goes, hey, he's a lonely guy. And then she's drunk. Oh, well. I buy it. Everything's fine. It's a good, fine experience. A few weeks later, however, we have this stupid fight. And all fights are stupid. I have no idea what it's about even.
Yeah.
And we break up. She gives me back the dildo. Like it's my grandmother's ring. Like, oh, I have to return this. So, like, what do you do with a used dildo? And then it's a rolling pin. I can't leave it around my, my place for the guys that come on over play poker and like, what the hell, Michael? We didn't no idea. I can't just like take it. I can't take it to Goodwill. Facebook Marketplace. I mean, how do you get rid of this?
Surprisingly, you see them.
Yeah, with my name on it too. Yeah, I got this. And who really wants used sex toys?
No.
I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm sure you could put it in the dishwasher and these things.
Still, no. I'm good.
So, right. So I guess a used robot, you could find some way to, who knows?
I guess. I think the whole idea, I read the whole concept of that brothel, and what was it, like 28, it had 28 people on hand to clean at one time. So, like, every facility that was being used would be cleaned and sanitized. And
sounds like a good life.
I'm good, dude. I'm not. Nah, I'm not.
I went to see the one ad for that.
Jeez,
$20 an hour. Must be willing to clean robot vaginas.
Did you hear what happened when Elon announced his Tesla robot?
No.
I think he went on to a podcast and someone was like, so you're coming out with a Tesla robot? And he just looked at the guy. He's like, no, you can't fuck it. Like, he already knew where the whole conversation was going. And I mean, come on, everyone kind of wanted to know.
I don't shame anybody, especially men are lonely. Men are lonely, and whatever it takes, just don't harm people. If you need to get your weird fantasies out on a robot, fine.
Go for it.
Right. I mean, 100%. I mean, I'm not going to shame anybody for anything they do. I really am. I'm for an old crazy white guy. I'm very open-minded. I really don't care. I'm happy you're happy. Whatever makes you come, I'm fine. So whatever it takes, you've learned to experience I didn't have. I had the Sears catalog to growing up. I had the underwear section. You guys had sortable porn. You're way advanced, my generation.
Yeah,
you're way advanced.
Yeah. We have just a click of a button to our pleasure center.
And you know the number of partners. You know the type of people. You know the openings. You know the endings. All this kind of stuff. You may all this. I didn't have any of that. I mean,
that's true.
I think my first fantasy was a bottle of syrup shaped like a woman. So Mrs. Butterworth was my first crush, probably.
I do admit, I think the Sears catalog.
Yeah.
We still had a Sears catalog when I was younger, so I think that's kind of what.
Yeah, it was actually, it's a stupid joke, but my brother had ruined it. I have an older brother, and Mom went through that, so she hid it from me. So I didn't even have that, really, in real life. So how sad. So, well, I'm appreciative. I am non-judgmental at all. Whatever pronouns you want, whatever you like, whatever about yourself, I'm just kind of amazed that people who knew they are. They knew all about themselves. I've had to remake myself. Comedy's one of my new remakes from my politics days, my lobbying days, and before that, as a father. You have to remake yourself. And if you guys want to remake yourself and there's everything to do in your life and you truly know what you want, I'm fucking jealous because I don't still in my life. And I'm happy for people who do. I'm happy for people who know exactly what they want. That's great.
One of my friends stole his mom's Victoria's Secret magazines all the time.
Nice.
Yeah. And I just, like, he told me a while ago, obviously.
But he told the secret about Victoria's Secret? God damn it, don't trust him with anything anymore.
Well,
he will tell the world.
He told me, he's like, yeah, my mom subscribed to it, and she never got a single subscription because I just get it first thing in the mail before she could even get to it. Yeah. And I was like, you do realize your mom was ordering that so she could wear what you're jerking off to? And he's like, oh, you ruined it for me.
Right. Well, see, people don't get that. I mean, so how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, so I'm 64, about to be 65 in July. You don't understand what. I mean, you have no concept and anything about your parents or your grandparents.
No.
I mean, I literally. So I've told this joke on stage. It's my favorite joke I've ever told. I use it as a close all the time in the right crowd. And when I do dirty jokes, I can't do this in a clean place. But the joke is that you guys do know what you want. You have these things in life, but you should be jealous of me. I know why your generation hates my generation. I know why there's jokes about boomers. It's because my life was better than yours.
Oh, yeah.
And my life was better than yours, not in the ways you think. It was in sex. Because when I was young, when I was in my teens and early 20s, women had just got the right to their bodies. Roe versus Wade had just passed. For the first time, American women over the entire world, for the first time, women could do whatever they wanted with their bodies. It was their bodies. It was a great change in women's lives. They could fuck anybody they wanted and deal. And the issue, Roe versus Wade had passed. So, and then they invented the pill.
Yep.
And there wasn't AIDS. So my joke is, I mean, you guys don't understand, but I mean, if you're from Oklahoma, I fucked your mom. Maybe in your grandma in your case, and I followed up with, hey, I really miss her. Say hi to her, go for it.
Good one.
It's a good joke. It is a good joke. It fits exactly what you're trying to say. I recognize that your generation hates my generation, but I try to deal with it and make my own reason why, and not the reasons why you should hate us, which you should. I mean, my generation is a bunch of assholes, so you should hate us. So,
what do you have going on here?
My next show is my favorite show, June 3rd. If you get this podcast, by then. So I do a show in Tulsa about every 3 months with fresh faces of comedy. It's great. So I run a couple of open mics, and I have the Facebook page, Tulsa Comedy Open Mics. And so we put on stuff. We promote all the comedy open mics, and all the hosts are friends of mine. So I asked them, hey, who's really new? Who's really trying? Who's coming to a bunch of open mics? And who would you recommend as someone who's been doing it less than 6 months or less than a year, or who's new to Tulsa and who really is really working, and we think they're worthy of giving it a shot? So they all recommended me, and I put on this kind of a fresh faces of Tulsa comedy. So it's a deco lounge. There's no cover charge. We pack the place. So these people, I give them their first $20, many of them, and their first poster. And on Facebook, they can share with it, and their friends can come. And it's a great show. The place holds 70 people. We had 138 last time. We packed the room. It's a great show to come to. There's great energy. These people, they really respond. These young comics really respond to the crowd. And there's enough diverse people laugh at them, and their friends are there. And so that's my favorite show. I don't do much producing anymore. I did a lot, but there's too many people doing it now, and it's too much easier to live my life. But I go on a lot of shows. I'm doing a show Wednesday at Heirloom with Ariel Julia from Chicago, and
I was thinking about producing a show here in Stillwater sometime. Maybe I don't know if it'll be at the end of summer. I have to find a venue first, but I want to get something called the Bedlam 918 versus 405, OKC versus
easy. I know all the
and
people.
do kind of like a Roast-a-Mania kind of thing.
Yeah, I've hired probably 40 Oklahoma City comics, and I also have hired probably 140 Tulsa comics. And I have all the videos because I'm part of the Blue Whale Comedy Festival committee. So I have everybody's video and stuff. And it'd be easy to do that. Stillwater would be kind of a fun place to do it, find the right venue.
It's kind of in between Tulsa and OKC. So that's why I was like, that'd be perfect to pick, you know. So
it's you got to find something that's connected between the two of them. What's halfway between 405 and 918? It's called the 6443s or something, whatever it is. Like so whatever halfway point is.
I was just gonna call it the Bedlam matchup or something on Bedlam Roast-a-Mania because it's in Oklahoma.
Well,
you have OU and OSU, and to my understanding, I mean, I'm not saying Tulsa comedians and OKC comedians don't get along, but they have a lot of different.
Oh, it's everything reason. It's not just comedians. It's everything. It's how. Since we're talking politics more than comedy here.
I don't mean to keep bringing into politics, but no.
So it's the reason how communities are built.
Yeah.
So most towns were built on trade. So it's the port city, Seattle or New York, or all these, Los Angeles, all these things. Yeah, they're all port cities. So the city were built or the trains went through there. Trains went through there. So every city in America finds some things. So Oklahoma City was part of that. So you had two cattle trails. So you had the Chisholm Trail and the Santa Fe Trail, both marched through Oklahoma City.
And now Oklahoma City's the largest, stockyards in America.
This was Cowtown. And more than Fort Worth. This was Cowtown because both the trails went through here. And they went to Kansas City. And Kansas City is where the cows got put on the trains or on the boats to go back east because all the money was in New York.
Even before Kansas City, it was Dodge, right?
Yeah. So, but I mean, you had to run your cows through across the country. And the reason Kansas City is good at barbecue is because some cows don't want to get on boats or trains and hurt themselves. You have to cook them. You can't put a hurt cow on the train. So they learn to cook them. But you were built at Oklahoma City wise, but Oklahoma City was built in traditional ways. It was built on banks handling these things and transactions and commerce and jobs and housing needed for jobs. And it was the other side on Tulsa. Tulsa got rich overnight. All the oil from World War I came from Tulsa, came from Glen Pool. Okay. And the banks in Oklahoma. If you want to go back in comedy, look at the Beverly Hillbillies TV show, the very first episode. You can Google it and watch that show. The very first episode, Jed found oil on his land, and the banker came and said, Jed, you got to move away from here, and where should you move? But Jed says to the banker in the episode, oh, where do you live? And the banker says, I live in Tulsa. And then there's this weird sound effect, like, oh, we don't want your kind in our sophisticated town. We're rich snobs and stuff. And then so Jed said, you should move to Beverly Hills. And the whole episode of the show was he didn't come. Tulsa's banks are everything. So the largest bank is in Tulsa, not in the state capital. The Bank of Oklahoma owns the Bank of Texas, owns the Bank of Colorado. People don't know this.
Really?
Yeah. So the banks in Tulsa, and when you're filthy rich bankers, you
so
make
Bank
money
of Texas
money.
and Bank of Colorado are just branches technically of Bank of
and
Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, they keep the same name, but same thing. Yeah.
Really?
So filthy rich money in Tulsa. Tulsa's very sophisticated. When you get rich overnight, if you win the Powerball...
I get that feeling from Tulsa.
If you win the Powerball tomorrow, you become a snob. There's nothing wrong with Tulsa doing this. I mean, you have the finer things. We should have a Philharmonic. We should have a beautiful art museum.
I heard they have a nicer steakhouse than Cattleman's in OKC.
Oh.
What's the Red Door Barn, or you know what I'm talking about?
There's some wonderful steak places in Tulsa. So I would say steak places in Tulsa. There's some very simple speakeasy ones that are incredible, Bull in the Alley and
that's
Boston,
the one I'm thinking of.
Boston Title. There's some really nice speakeasy restaurants with great steaks in Tulsa. But I mean, we're cattle country, as Oklahoma City, and I like Cattleman's. I like Cattleman's chili, by the way. If you're a chili fan. Yeah, I can cook great steaks on the grill. I did last night.
I had a steak from Cattleman's and I wasn't impressed. I was like, I feel like I could get this from Texas Roadhouse. No offense, guys. I love Cattleman's.
Texas Roadhouse is a fine steak, and Ruth Chris is the best steak in every town in America, it seems. Ruth's Chris. So there's one in the casino in Tulsa, but they have, they have one here. It's you should look into it.
Okay.
So so look at your steaks. I mean, and it depends what you want. But if you learn to make a steak on your own, you'll never order a steak at the restaurant. You'll order. Impress me with something that's hard to do. I've learned to make a steak. Here's the secrets of steak. Here's my secrets to it. You have to dry age the steak. So if you don't have a dry ager, what you do is you put it on a plate in the bottom of the refrigerator for a whole day, and then flip it over for the whole another day. If it's opened and air, it will turn dark red.
Yep.
And then you you leave it out for room temperature. So then you start to cook it. That simple thing. You can also do all marinades and peppers and everything else you want to put on there and stuff. But that's the secret to a great steak. Is 2 days in the refrigerator, one on each side, open, and a plate. Let it dry age in the refrigerator and keep it as cold as possible. And then let it get to room temperature.
You don't want it frozen, but you want it as cold,
room temperature is better for a steak.
Yeah.
There are some things that are better frozen to put on the grill and stuff. Some things, but I grilled last night. I grilled steaks last night.
Really?
So yeah, you can. It's easy to do. So I don't eat steaks that way when I go to restaurants. I mean, I have, of course, and I go to banquets, so I eat a steak there. But I'd prefer them do something impress me, make something. Make it into a lasagna is way more a dish for me. Or and then I do like fish and I don't. I don't eat out that much. I work for nonprofits. I'm not rich.
Right.
But I mean, I I'm not all into organic. I mean, gluten-free. I think the glutens have been held against their will. So we should free the glutens. My attitude toward them. So I don't understand what they all mean. There's a controversy of these people named gluten.
Well, I don't understand how people are allergic to gluten after for so long that we've been eating gluten, and then all of a sudden you have an allergy to it. It just
weak systems. Maybe we are doing things wrong that make people weaker now, and not allergies. But they aren't.
Is it in some sort of vaccine that makes us do that? That's a whole different conversation that I don't want to get into, obviously. But
I think it's. I think these things become stronger and things evolve, and maybe we devolve in some ways, but maybe we are immune complement system on certain things in life. Yeah. And maybe it's also wasn't diagnosed forever. I mean, we didn't diaggnose ADD forever. We didn't diagnose schizophrenia and anxiety and all these kind of things forever. Now we know that these are real.
Those were recently discovered, weren't they?
We know they're real.
In the last 100 years.
Maybe there's ways to solve. Maybe there's a pill out there that makes people not die from nuts. That'd be great. I mean, then we all could enjoy nuts because I like nuts. I mean, you are what you eat. I'm crazy. I eat all nuts. So, I mean, I get that. So it'd be nice not to have these things for. I know, I have friends who have vegan restaurants. I used to do a comedy show at local Bison in Tulsa, and they're a vegan restaurant that has bison burger on their dish because they're Oklahoma. They're smart marketing people. They own a pizza place.
That is a smart market.
Yeah, they own a vegan deli. They're downtown at 6th and Mawson, and they're a grade 3 restaurant they own. And when I do comedy shows at local Bison, I would, of course, make fun of bison and everything else going there. But the vegans there, he really did believe that you should not eat these meats and stuff. I just like them. They're tasty animals. I like all these reasons. And I'm not going to do this. I mean, my body is not a temple. My body is more of a trailer park. So I'm willing to eat really crappy shit all the time. So
my opinion is, I mean, if you do the research on cattle, they're kind of a useless animal other than being eaten. They don't do much except destroy land and eat crops or whatnot. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I mean, we feed them our crops to eat, you know.
I work with a lot of cattle ranchers. They don't make much money on the cows. It's like raising pets that you give away and you break even.
Well, you don't name them, but that's the difference from a pet and.
You can name anything. I went to San Francisco. I named all the seals by the dock. I named them all. They didn't remember their names probably, but you could name anything in life.
No, I talk to a lot of cattle ranchers too. Like I've been starting to talk to a lot of them, and they're like, a lot of us just name them 101, 202.
Yeah,
they just call them number. Yep, they just call they go by numbers, and because the turnover is so fast too.
But think about the happiness of a cow. I mean, up until the time he gets hit by the hammer and he's killed. If you study religions, all the international religions, the world's religions, you'll see in Hinduism, what they believe is
they don't eat cows, right?
Right, because they think cows are evolved humans. So we here in American and Christianity, we believe in hell. We believe if you don't go there, you're damned. If you don't do all these things right and profess these certain things, then you won't go on. Right. And other people believe that once you die, you die. I mean, is there a soul? Is there a thing? Why would there be a ghost? Why would you search around? Why would they send me to some hell place? I mean, so a lot of people believe there's no afterlife. And a lot of people believe there's a half-life of heaven and hell. Well, what Hinduism does is Hinduism believes that you evolve and come back as a better. So there is. You keep going forward. And so if you've led a really good life, your next life, you get this content cow's life. You've done everything right. So you just get to be a cow. You just get to eat grass and poop when you feel like it and be nice and pet people. And you don't cause any problems. You don't kill other animals. You have a peaceful life. And nothing tries to kill you besides humans. And, maybe wolves somewhere. But in most cases,
there's still predators out. But, yeah, I get what you're saying. For the majority of the...
It's a peaceful life. And there's not a lot of confined animal feeding operations like there are for chickens and even pigs. Right. Most cows are free-range cows. So, and which makes a great life. And it kind of bothers me. I mean, I worked for many years in a cubicle. And they're free range. I don't want to eat animals that had a better life than me, but maybe a cow's had a better life than me, so I shouldn't eat beef for that reason. So, so Hinduism says that,
right.
They all have the same philosophy. All the major religions, Buddhism as well. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
The golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated. And so they all have that same basis. Some of them focus more on task and stories than the others. And I know if your fairy tales are more important than their fairy tales. A lot of them are found if you read Plato's Republic, a lot of religions, amazingly, this was kind of talked about in the Greeks. That's part of your religion now. Jesus did that. I mean, it's kind of amazing, some of these stories. So maybe they're just good stories to inspire us to be better people. And some people need that story. They need someone to believe in something else. They need to have some faith, some power being. How do you explain why a child dies? It must be God's will in some way. It must be something wrong. I mean, how do you understand life in many ways and disappointments? Well, the philosophies we learn from religions about turn the other cheek, they were found in all religions, are wonderful religions.
Interesting.
Well, last thing about politics. So in the Middle East, we have Shiites, Sunnis, and Kurds.
Right.
Kurds are mostly the Arabs, and Kurds are the business people, and the Shiites and the Sunnis. If you study the ancient reasons why they're at war, they've been at war since 1350. To think any American president could go in and say, oh, you guys should stop fighting. You've been fighting now for almost 900 years or 800 years. So give me a break. You're not going to be able to do this on policy. With like, oh, we're going to give arms to one side and it's going to stop the fighting. The reasons why they hate each other is the Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad died, and he left no will and instructions how to lead the religion.
Right.
So it wasn't a religion like Christianity. It was based on him after he died much later. Then they wrote the books about the things he did and stuff. No, he led the church.
Right.
I mean, he was the president of the World Wrestling Foundation. I mean, he was everything.
He was writing it as he was going. Yeah.
Yeah, and wonderful teachings. Incredible.
The way I kind of put that was almost in a cult way, and I didn't mean to put it in a cult way. But at the same time, don't you think all religions are some sort of a cult?
Yeah, I think coffee's a cult. Yeah, I think anything you believe in for silly reasons and you would die for it. That be careful. But also believe in voodoo is the same thing. It's a religion. So, all these things. Well, Muhammad didn't leave instructions, and his widow wanted to do the church, the giving part of it, and said the religion now should go this direction and focus on the love and the teachings and service and do these things. And the nephew, who was the real powerful person, the second in command for the whole kingdom and stuff, said, no, we have power. We should use power. We should force our religion on other people and go forward and push this. And we should not be afraid to die for our beliefs and stuff. So the Shiites and the Sunnis have been fighting forever and ever. And we pick one side. So this last time when we went to the Middle East through George Bush first, we picked the Sunni side, which was a minority. They were a 40 to 60% ratio, and we fed them till they win the elections. We established democratic elections. And as soon as we left, the Shiites were like, well, if it's democratic, we're going to vote ourselves in, and then we're in charge again. So so they just kept fighting, and who has control? Who makes us think we can put one political party to change these people's deaf beliefs? Because one side believes you die for things and stuff. Then the Kurds are involved, and they're the people trying to make money. They want this. They're the Arab dealers. They're there, and they fund things. So they have this weird kind of mafia Kurds try to make money on both sides, continue to fight because they're armed dealer for both sides, and so is America. So I just think religion, sometimes people will die. If you want to see atrocities, I mean, I'm not saying that all these other things in life have been terrible, but the Dark Ages were as bad as they get. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you understand. We thought if you don't believe in the Catholic Church, you should die. I mean, like, really? Really? I don't think that Jesus would have said that. Yeah,
I don't think so either. Any other shows you have going on?
Not much shows. A couple in Florida coming up. It's interesting. So I'm trying to live a life not through comedy, and so I did 200 shows in 4 years. Wow. Produced a lot and did a bunch of shows and stuff, and it's hard. And I'm also at the point now where I really like doing what I'm doing and not having to be in charge of all of them.
Right.
And so it's time for your generation. I really do. I hope the comedy scene is run by 20-somethings, and people like me just help make deals happen. But I feel more of a patron of the arts than more of an artist these days. So helping make comedy work by putting on shows and getting comics going forward. That's more important. But it's the problem. It's the reason why you should hate my generation is because my generation, you really should hate my parents. They're the ones who screwed things up. They're the ones who accepted Walmart and are still alive, taking all your money and created this all false economy. You should hate the people in their 80s, not people in their 60s. But boomers, I'm the last of the 60s. I'm kind of a boomer, so you hate me too.
My dad's actually going to be 65 here in July.
Yeah, me too. So we're the same age as your dad, yeah. So my generation did a lot of positive things. We created the EPA. We fought for rights. We fought for the civil rights movement. We had all these kind of things we did when I was your age. That's what the people were doing then. They were fighting for these things and good in life and stuff. But you hate us anyway, and for good reason for it. But the most important reason why you really should hate us is not some sex joke. It's because my generation refused to give up a chance to lead. So they want to still be the politician. They still want to be the head of the chairman of the board. They want all these kind of things and stuff. And I've had those things. I've had them all. It's time to share. It's time to share the honor and to cheer for the others and get their ideas come forward and see if they work.
I think where your generation, because I think my father's generation and your generation, your flaw was the point where what am I trying to say here and not make it sound like a dick thing? You guys had the hard life, obviously, of growing up, but you also changed a lot in our economy to the point where not you, but your generation bought all the housing and it cornered the market in a lot of areas before my generation could. And I'm not disagreeing with it either, because it's called capitalism. It's what you can, it's freedom and everything. But you guys cornered it so intently and so far to the point where it's hard for my generation to buy a house now, because now banks that are being ran by your generation look at me renting a house for $650 to $700 a month, and then a mortgage that would be $450 a month, and they're like, "No, you can't afford the mortgage."
Yeah, rent is the difference. When I first got out of college, I had a little duplex by the University of Tulsa that was $210 a month rent, and now it's $1,300.
I was gonna say nowadays,
but income's coming. But
and I'm not saying there isn't.
Here's what I dealt with. But to buy a house back then, we paid 17% interest rates on my first house. 17%. You basically you owe 30. You never got your principal back. So now when you buy a house, you can get principal back because the rates are low, and interest rates are really the issue on the housing and everything else. So when the interest rates are high, the rich people make money because they make money in the stock market or as loan officers in some capacity. And when their interests are low, so it's good times. So your generation has the ability to buy things and not go into debt and interest rates. You're putting things for principal. They just raise the price of everything. So it's if you look at the amount of income we have, vice versa, is not that different. And when I graduated college, I graduated in 80, and unemployment rates were 11.5%, and next year they were 12.5%. And they've now unemployment rates. So I graduated college, did everything I was supposed to do. I was the first of my family ever to go to college. I got a football scholarship to go to college, and the first of my family ever go away. And I did everything right I was supposed to do. I studied hard. I sold my car to pay my books and everything else. It helped things. Did everything I possibly do. I got out, and there were no jobs, and no one was hiring
at any
level. So political science, my bachelor's degree, So
how is there not a job in that? What?
Yeah, because what do you do? You're a salesman. You have some ideas. You go to law school. You go become a teacher.
Political. I guess there's more to go to school.
Most degrees.
Because I thought political. Sorry for cutting you off. I apologize. I thought political science would give you the option to maybe teach in that.
Sure. I could have tried to go into teaching probably and taken the vow of poverty, whatever, and they didn't. And that thing, even teaching jobs, I think they were good. Teachers weren't retiring like they are now. So the world changed.
I guess you could also be a lobbyist too with the.
What it did was, I led to a shitty marriage that made me homeless. I was homeless when I was 25. I lived in my car. I couch surfed. I found ways to get through this. I finally got an apartment and had no electricity or running water, and then my car got smashed. And so now they didn't have a car, but I had an apartment. I struggled too, and people don't see. They think my generation just coasted through life. And they didn't, and we didn't, and we had a lot of problems there. And maybe it was just me. Maybe everybody else had the easy lives and stuff. But we don't focus on it. We don't talk about me in my 20s that way. We don't talk about the times I struggle. We talk, and you just see us as, one other thing, the difference between, I think one of the reasons my generation is just very respectful to younger audiences and younger generations is we had to wait for everything. And it's just kind of hard to get past that. You understand. At 5 o'clock on Friday, if you didn't have money or groceries, the store was closed.
Yeah.
And there weren't ATMs. There were microwave ovens. There was nothing. Everything took forever. Everything. You learned to wait for everything.
My generation got everything
instantly. So it's kind of hard not to be like, you guys have everything. As seconds you want it. How are you not doing better than us? So it's kind of a weird way. I feel like people are mad from my generation thinking, you should be better. You have everything we ever wanted. I couldn't have, AI to help you write term papers. Come on, I had to go get a whole 50 pounds of encyclopedias to be able to do a term paper. And you guys have everything. How come?
The worst part for you guys was the book was checked out.
Right.
So you didn't have the information for it.
Right. So I mean,
for me, I can just get on my phone or my laptop and just be like,
there. So younger generation should take that responsibility and say, yeah, we should be way more educated. We should be way smarter. We should be all these things in that generation, because they never had these kind of things. We have the ability.
I do believe this generation is very smart. It may be smarter than your generation as well.
Right.
Because,
of course you are. You have better.
Well, we have YouTube where, people have taken the advantage of posting how to work on your car or, the simple keeping up with your house kind of stuff. So it gives my generation the focus on, we can go buy a house and do those things.
Right.
Then we get to the bank, like I said, and it's like,
well, it's a lot of things in life.
You mentioned the taxes and everything, so I don't want to dive back into that. But
it is. We all have hard lives, unless you worked really hard to get there and stuff, and then have a chance to, And I'm close to retirement age, and I'm not going to be rich ever. I mean, so I've lost everything in divorces. My love was grand. My divorces were $100,000, and so I'm at the same point here. I'm not, but I'm also. I will say this about myself. I really don't need a lot now. I thought I did. There's an old George Carlin routine about stuff. And you should look it up and Google it. And so he talks about how we've changed our lives because now we have to have stuff. And then we have to have better stuff. And we have to have a house to store our stuff. And then we're afraid when we're on vacation, like, oh my, what happened to my stuff? And maybe someone's going to break in and steal my stuff. And we become this obsessed people about stuff. Right. And that's not true happiness. So there's a reason why a lot of people have a minimalist attitude. I was influenced by an aunt. I had an aunt who was a really smart woman. And she, I learned this when I'm about 10 or 11 years old when I caught her doing it. I said, oh, Aunt May, we bought you these flowers in this vase. And she goes, oh, I have this book for you. And she gave me a book. And I realized everything comes in her house, one leaves. So she led a life in a very small existence. And she called it, I had this long conversation with her. And she goes, yeah, I have what I call X number of things. And it's all I want to have. I've never counted them. She's like, I don't have 700 things or 7,000. I've never counted, but I don't want any more than I have now. If you have that life attitude, you end up getting better things. You don't just get things to have it.
Right.
So, I mean, she goes, when you get married in her generation, everybody had a punch bowl for a wedding gift. And she said, you don't need a punch bowl, but once a year at the very most, you find reasons to use the punch bowl. You could borrow a punch bowl. Someone else has one. Why own a punch bowl? X number of things in life. So I'm become a minimalist. It's helped my environmental policies about recycling and stuff, reduce, reuse, recycle.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so literally go through your place and think, do I really need this? And if not, share it with someone else. Take it to the thrift store, let someone else have it. Take it to the pawn shop, whatever it takes. Use the money for any good you want to do in your life. And who knows? I don't care what you do. But
as he looks at my wall of
stuff, you have stuff everywhere. No, anyway, we're recording your studio as a storage place as well. Yeah, I get that. So we don't have big mansion skyscraper studios.
If you saw this place before, so this place wasn't even organized. Everything was just piled on each other and everything all the way out to the door. Yeah. And you couldn't, there was a narrow path that you could walk all the way to that door and all the way out. But other than that, you could not walk where we were.
Okay. I'm in the presence of a hoarder. I get it.
Well, you're a hoarder. I finally got rid of everything. I started tossing left and right, and then my mom was like, oh, we can keep this and just put it in the attic, so don't look in the attic. The attic's not that bad either, but
it's the junk drawer of all our lives. We all have one somewhere.
Oh, so, yeah.
Maybe emotionally, but we all have one.
Any last things you want to mention to the fans?
Had fun time. No, find me 9-Minute Comedy, Michael Patton. I'm fun to follow. I don't do a lot of self promotion anymore. So I'd say this. Here's my last bit of advice: is comedy is truly American. Everything else in the arts world was invented somewhere else. All the poetry, all the songs, everything was invented somewhere else. Stand-up comedy and jazz are the two performance arts that were invented in America, and you should respect them for that reason. You should respect them. You should think, wow, the ability to do this. I mean, if we really believe in the freedoms, the First Amendment says the freedom of speech. The Second Amendment's the guns, and I believe Second Amendment's equally as important. In fact, if you have a gun, you can say anything you want. But the idea that we have this, we can say these things, and I know there's cancel culture out there. It's always been around. It's always been there. You can't be stupid. You got to read the room in every way possible. Right. But we don't should be afraid to support local comedy. So you should Google on Facebook or wherever you're at comedy shows and go see them. I'm very blessed. I've had a great life. I got to run nonprofits. I got to be chairman and president and all these kind of organizations. I've got a lot of great titles. My favorite one is volunteer, but I'm blessed. I got to change the world, and my generation really did. We did care. We did make a big difference in a lot of things. But I don't want to do that anymore. I want to change the mood. And there's nothing else what your podcast can do, and we all should really focus on is how do we change the mood? How do we all together laugh? How do we all figure like, wait a second, why are we all so mad at each other? Maybe we can find something stoke about chickens and bicycles and make us all laugh in a stupid way. And so that's what I recommend people, don't focus on changing the world. Don't give it up. I mean, you're 28, don't give up on doing it. But really changing the mood makes such a bigger difference in our lives at this point.
I'm just trying to change it with my podcast, nothing else.
Thanks. You're good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Guys, love you. Tune in. Appreciate you guys hanging on this long. All right, till next time. Bye.
How long we talk?
An hour and a half.
Right on time, maybe? Okay, I gotta go.
Hello, Mark Trotter. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Heley cast. What's up, Billy Freeman?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hello, Marty.
Oh, hey, buddy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Next, how are you doing? What's your real name? What's your government name? That is my first question. I'm just going to go right off the bat and go. JJ Wood.
What's up? Long-time listener, first-time guest. Really excited to be here.
Y'all have headphones now? You get
Yeah, I got
Heley, what year were you born? 97? 96?
95.
See, all right. Technically, you're a 90s baby, but you missed half of it.